Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. I hello, Matthews. There were two, and somehow there was only one person now. Matthews, are you there, Matthews?
Yeah, I'm here, mister.
Hi, good afternoon, Matthews.
Good afternoon.
And Usman, yeah, hi. Usman is just what happened? I guess Usman is having a connectivity issue, right? Ah, and then no one is here. What's going on? Mm, uh, only one person. Wow. Okay, Rowan is has just joined us. How are you, Rowan?
Doing well, how are you?
Good, good.
Good.
Well, I hope everyone knows that we are meeting online only until today. And our last day of class is Monday, coming Monday, and we'll meet in person for the last time. Um, but I wonder if some people are misunderstanding that we are meeting. Okay, Daniela is here, but she hasn't. Okay, Daniela is joining. So I guess just people are just being a little tardy, right? Not because that they don't know, but they are just being tardy. How are you, Daniela? Hello, Daniela, can you hear me? I see your microphone icon, but I can't hear you. So you might need to turn up your volume. Dee Lee is here as well. How are you, Dee Lee?
Yes, I'm good. I can hear you.
Good. How are you? Okay. So at least we have people here. So let's continue. So since today is like I hope we can cover everything by Monday. As I said, Monday will be our last class. Um, so I don't know if uh, how much I can cover today because it's just 1 hour. So I would like to use this time to basically discuss why. I mean, we have four, as I as we discussed last time, uh, stock valuation models, right, which are called, DDM, dividend discount model, which is a part of DCF, right, which is a kind of DCF, discounted cash flow model. There are four. First one is, constant dividend model or zero growth model. What's going on? Which is, basically dividend over R, right? This is called, constant dividend or zero growth model. Now, constant dividend means dividend is not growing, hence called the zero growth model. And an example of that is uh, uh, perpetuity. Even the common stock, not just the perpetuity, preferred stock is a perpetuity, but the common stock can be a perpetuity too. I mean, if, as I said before, a mature company, is hardly expected to grow, so our dividend will remain constant. And our question is, so okay, we all understand that the concept of discounted cash flow model or dividend discount model is basically, well, dividend one discounted, right? Next period dividend. But any period dividends are, because they are all constant, we don't need time subscript, because dividend at time 1 is equal to dividend at time 2, and so forth, right? So we are discounting all the dividends, but it goes on forever, right? So we know it's going to be, if I write it out, it's going to look like this, right? There will be a dividend at infinity minus 1, and there will be a dividend at infinity. I mean, infinity is a concept that has no end. So it really doesn't mean that it ends if I write it like this. Just because I write it like this, it doesn't mean it ends. But it's just to express the concept. There is something at infinity, at infinite time, millions of years later, or still. And I told you, even at that infinite point in time, there will be price of the stock at that infinity, right? And the price, okay. And the interesting thing is, no matter what the price may be, it will still be a finite number. This is still a finite number, right? Now think about it. You think the price of Apple will be, infinite, at infinite future? Do you think price of Tesla will be an infinitely large number at infinite time horizon, at infinite future? No, it's not gonna be infinite. If it was to be infinite, by now, since Apple was conceived, since Apple was born in 1981, by now the price should be. And I told you the Apple grew almost 130,000%, 130,000%, or 1,300 times since its birth, right? Since the beginning. However, Apple is only about 100 something. It would be, I don't know how much Apple is today, but today the market just slightly gained a little, and then this is, see, at the beginning, earlier today the market gained. Now by the end of the day, everything is down again, because I was, European market was all good. European market was all good, and then they all gained even by 1%. So they all started out with some gains, and then by the end of the day, it turned all, this. But anyway, the point is, so how much is Apple today? Yeah, 140, so 146. Then think about it. And I told you, when Apple first began, the IPO price, Apple's IPO price was like $10. And if $10 times 1 plus y 0. 1 plus, what did I say, 1,300 times net, just the net growth. Think about it. It should be by now. It should be by now, $13,010. It should have been by now. But it's not like that. Why? Why isn't it this? Because Apple had so many splits, right? Apple had so many splits along the way. Probably, through the entire life of Apple, it had about, probably not more than 10 times, but about at least, 7, 8 times, right? It split 7, 8 times. It has split. So because of the split, and why do they split? I told you, if the price is, if Apple hasn't split throughout its entire life, it would be like $13,000, $10. How is it going to be possible to buy Apple for any, you have to be like, even if you have $15,000, you can buy only one share, right? It's going to become a very unmarketable stock, right? So that's why they split, to make to be more marketable, to make the stock more marketable. So because of splits, even at infinite future, at an infinite time horizon, it won't be, right? It won't be an infinite number, infinite large number. It will still be a finite number. Another reason, there is a business cycle, right? And through boom and bust, now we are, like, the stock market is on a downtrend, and usually that will be followed by recession. I mean, hopefully we will get out of, we won't really go into recession, but after every boom there is bust, and in the during the bust, of course the price goes down, right? And especially if the recession is artificially induced by the central bank to fight inflation, right? Then it will be normally by monetary high interest rates. High interest rate, all the valuations go down, right? Because this discount rate, as it goes up, all the valuation goes down. So because of this, even at infinite future, infinite time into the future, the price of the stock will be a finite number. And that, if you, and but no matter what, 1 plus r raised to infinity, 1 plus r raised to infinity will become an infinitely large number. You divide finite number by an infinitely large number, this term drops out. It becomes almost close to zero. So we don't need to worry about that. Okay, that is the reason we are only considering dividends. So that means we have an infinite string of or polynomial. It's called mathematical polynomial. We have an infinitely long polynomial of dividends. Now let's call this, I'll call this equation 1. Okay, and then I will multiply equation 1 by 1 plus r. Okay? And I'll call that equation 2. Oops. Call that equation 2, right? This is equation 2. Now, what I'm going to do is, so then let's write out what equation 2 is. So the left-hand side of the equation will look like 1 plus r v0, right? And the first term in the right-hand side will be just dividend. Why? Because you multiplied it by dividend. 1 plus r in the denominator and 1 plus r that is multiplied will cancel out. And the second term will become dividend over 1 plus r, right? Because you all understand, right? Because, by multiplying 1 plus r, we'll have to cancel. So, and then, oops, where's the back button? There was a back button, I guess, before. Let's see. I wonder what happened to the back button. And then the third term must have been, the third term in equation 1 must have been, 1 plus dividend over 1 plus r raised to the third power, but that will become 1 plus r squared. Right? And it will keep going like that. Ellipsis, that. It will keep going like that. And this term will become dividend over 1 plus r raised to infinity minus 2. And this one will become dividend over 1 plus r raised to so now next thing we want to do is, and it doesn't stop only here because it goes to infinity. I mean, still there will be no dividend over 1 plus r raised to infinity. Now what I want to do here is I'm gonna subtract 1 from 2. If I subtract 1 from 2, what's going to happen? Everything, you got to remember, everything here will change sign. Everything in equation 1 will all be negative. Isn't it right? Everything in 1 will all become negative. The signs will be all negative. So then, think about it. Left-hand side will become, first, left-hand side will become, 1 plus r v0 minus v0, which will become, if you factor out the common factor, it's going to be 1 plus r minus 1 v0. Isn't it right? 1 and 1 will cancel out. And the right-hand side will be dividend, right? Because, equation 2 is all positive, equation 1 is all negative, so dividend. And then this term and this term, they will cancel out because this, equation 1 is negative. This will cancel out. Everything will cancel out with each other. And whatever was here, whatever was in equation 1, dividend over 1 plus r raised to infinity minus 2, it will cancel. It will cancel out. These two will cancel out. Right? And although I didn't write here, but there is no, because dividend is, infinity is infinity. Whatever is there in the infinity, it will still cancel out each other. Right? So finally, we are left with, so there is nothing left in the right-hand side other than just dividend, right? So think about it. The left-hand side is now r times v0. The right-hand side is dividend. Now we solve this for, what do we need to do? We are solving this for v0. If you solve this for v0, then it's dividend over r, right? That's how this equation, how this reduced form, how we arrive at this reduced form, right? You may just, try to memorize this, oh, this is, a zero growth model. But, how did we arrive at from, how did we arrive at this? How could we arrive at this from originally from equation 1? How did we arrive at that? This is how we arrived at that equation, right? So this is how the zero growth model is derived. Now, second, then how do we get to this? I mean, where did this G come from? How do we get to, where is it? Constant growth model or Gordon growth model, right? The Gordon model. So why only dividend t plus 1? What happened to the dividend at t plus 2, t plus 3, t plus 4? And where did, it must be discounted by, the original form, in the original form, it must be discounted by, discounted like this. But what happened to 1 plus r, and where did this G come from? Where did it come from? So to understand that, I will have to use, to explain that. Actually, I put it, okay, I have more people here. And only 7 people. This is, oh God, this is so disappointing. So I think I have that in, do I have it in here? Not in, somehow I put it in here somehow. Okay, I don't know why I put Gordon growth model here. The break. So Gordon growth model is basically, one period, basically to predict the next period, right? Think about it. We all know PT, let's say PT is the price at time t, and then if K is the return, and what's the difference between return and growth rate? What's the difference between return and growth rate? Now, this is the difference. We've been talking about this from the first topic. What was our first topic? Our first topic was ROI. Isn't that right? Remember? And we had two scenarios, right? Two scenarios in ROI. Scenario 1, scenario 2, and scenario 1 is what? You have the house, but you don't rent it out, so there is no extra income coming from it, just capital gains, if ever. And I've been telling you, a bond is just like that. I mean, this zero coupon bond is just like that. Zero coupon. In case of zero coupon, there's only capital gains, but there's no extra income, or which is coupon payment. Whereas, so this is like zero coupon. Scenario 2 is coupon bond. If it is bond, scenario 1 will be zero coupon. Scenario 2 will be coupon bond. If it is stock, it will be a stock that pays no dividend. And scenario 2, it will be a stock with the dividend, right? So think about it. So if the stock pays no dividend, then there will only be capital gains or capital loss. Isn't that right? Think about it. In that case, stock price at time t plus 1 will simply be the result of stock price at time t times 1 plus growth rate, right? Now, if it has dividend, right, you will have if you buy stock at time t, right, for paying VT, right, you will have at time t plus 1, you will have not only VT plus 1, but also dividend at time t plus 1. Make sense? So that's the difference between, and in my other notation, I used K for that, cost of capital, right? And of course, notation was, again, P, right? Price for price. So now you see, that's what it means, right? If the stock is growing and paying dividend, right? The growth rate, in this case, the growth rate K, not the growth rate, the return. Return is more than just merely the growth rate, right? Because there is dividend. So think about it. Then I can divide both sides by PT, right? So divide in the right-hand side, I will have 1 plus K. In the left-hand side, I will have PT plus 1 over DT plus 1. But then what is PT plus 1? PT plus 1 is actually PT times 1 plus G. Isn't that right? Just the growth rate. I mean, think about it. If just like the as in this case, right? If there's no dividend, if there's no dividend, right? It will be the case of, if there's no dividend, it's just growth, right? It's just growth. So you can rewrite PT plus 1 as this. So that's what I did, right? And then think about it. You can also, PT times 1 plus G can be broken up, right? In other words, you can split it into, it can be split into PT over PT times, what I'm trying to say is, what is that? Is PT plus PT plus PT times G, right? PT times G, right? Over PT. Again, you can split it like this. And if you split it, PT over PT, 1, right? Plus PT over PT times G over PT times G over PT gets canceled out. Therefore, you will have only 1 plus G left. And then, of course, this will still be just, dt plus 1 over pt. So now we collect the like terms, right? 1 and, g, if you move it to the right-hand side, 1 and 1, this one will be negative. 1 and 1 will cancel out. 1 and 1 will cancel out. And when it goes to the other side, it will change the sign. So now we have dt plus 1 over pt equals k minus g. So think about it. Everything is, I've been telling you, z equals x times y, right? We have, here, z over y equals x, or, whatever you call it, z over x equals y. If z equals x times y, z over x is y. So if you want to know x, then it's z over y. So pt, if you solve for pt, then you will have z over y, right? Hence, we have that Gordon growth model, pt equals, right? That's how we get Gordon growth model. Therefore, so Gordon growth model is really just a one period model. Next period is so we came to okay, VT equals dividend at t plus 1 over K minus G or R minus G. K and R, the same thing. And it can be even, how do we know what dt plus 1 is? How do we know what it is? Again, we know growth rate. So that's the dividend growth rate, right? So how do we know what that is? And we'll because we don't know. We know dt, but we don't know dt plus 1. I mean, whatever is in the future, we don't know. But we can estimate it or we can forecast it. How? Because since we know what dt is, all you need to do is compound it by 1 plus g. Okay. Hence, that's how a golden growth model was derived. Okay. And actually, it is my derivation. This is how I found, I mean, my own solution. Nobody, when I was a graduate student, I arrived at this conclusion on my own. It's not like, how these formulas are derived were taught, right? It is always in finance. It's almost like, it's not important, uh, uh, as if it is not important, they just give you the end result, but never show you how they were derived. But that's not my style. My style is, when I was a graduate student, I needed to know why it took this form, why it became this. So I pined over it day and night, right? I agonized over it day and night. And I found my own conclusion, my own way of, doing this. So anyway, that brings us to our next example. So variable growth model. We're gonna once you know this, it's gonna be easy. So let's take a look at the next example. Lamar Company. Do I have? Yeah. Lamar Company, a small cosmetics company. Once again, the name doesn't matter. We can call it just Company X, right? But does it matter? Small cosmetics company. Whether it's cosmetics doesn't matter. But does this matter? It's an adjective. Adjective is just a frill. I mean, science based on math, do the frills mean anything? Usually, math is devoid of any adjectives or adverbs, right? But not necessarily. I mean, these adjectives are quantifiable cues sometimes. Adjectives seem like they are not quantifiable. That has nothing to do, quantitative data. It may not be quantitative as a data point. I mean, there's no data point when small or fast. How can that be, a data point? It may not be data point, but at least it can give us some parameter. But it means something. Why? If it is a small company, remember the mature companies don't grow. Mature companies, they are mature. That means they don't have any more market share to gain. Mature companies don't have any more market share to gain. I mean, Coca-Cola is a good example of a mature company. Why? Geographically, in terms of geography, right? Geographic market, there's no geographic market you can, expand to, right? The only exception is probably, North Korea, maybe, because Coca-Cola is so capitalist. They would hate Coca-Cola. They wouldn't anything that even Russia only in 1990, after the fall of the Berlin Wall, McDonald's was introduced in Russia only in 1990, 91 or something like that. So how much more for a country like North Korea? Maybe, I don't know, under Al Qaeda or under Taliban, maybe they banned Coca-Cola. But before the fall of Afghan, they must have had Coca-Cola in Afghanistan. I mean, they just brutally, savagely and brutally, ban anything that makes life more at least a little sweeter. Right? Everything has to be harsh. That's their way. I don't know. At least Taliban and Al Qaeda, they don't. I don't think they would like anything that represents America. And think about it. Geographically, even in, you might wonder, Antarctica. But you might say, in Antarctica, there's no population. How can there are research bases by many countries. U.S. has its research base. UK, France, Germany, Argentina, South Korea also has 2 research bases in Antarctica. Japan has also a research base there. So think about it. In these research bases, they have vending machines. They have to have, right? So even in Antarctica, there is and that's all the population. The researchers, the staff of the research bases. Those are the populations. The only population there. But wherever there are people, there is Coca-Cola. But so geographically, and since North Korea and Al Qaeda or Taliban are blocking anything that is from capitalist system, probably other than weapons, right? Other than arms. Those are the only markets they can grow into. But it's artificially banned. So throughout the entire world, there is nowhere you cannot find Coca-Cola, and as long as you want to drink Coca-Cola, unless you have any aversion to Coca-Cola. Anyone who wants Coca-Cola can drink Coca-Cola, right? So as far as the geographic market is concerned, mature companies have no more room for growth. That's why they are mature companies. Maybe demographics-wise, right? Those who are there may be more rooms for growth for or psychological for psychographic market segmentation. You can approach the market segment that is psychologically averse to Coca-Cola or anything like that. For example, Amish. I don't think they will drink anything like Coca-Cola because they don't even use electricity. But religious groups like that, extreme religious sects that deny the modern civilization and technology. Those are the probably the only market segments that but those are either that's psychographic segmentation actually, or that's not socioeconomic. But anyway, so mature companies don't grow, but small companies have a lot of room for growth. I mean, think about it. If you are a small company that just entered this market and you have only, 2% market share, your ultimate goal is capturing the remaining 98% market share. Of course, that's a tall order. Why? Because if you are a beverage company and you just entered market, your current market share is 2%, but the majority, you want to become, then, the 98%, the other 98% is currently taken up by Coke and Pepsi. So it's a formidable task because you have to gain take those market share from. They won't just let that happen, right? They won't just let that happen. They will try to kill you off first. First, once they notice that they are taking gradually 1% of their market, gradually every time 1%, sooner or later, if they see their market share going down by 5%, then they will notice already. And what is the cause of this? Oh, this new company that they are encroaching on our market share. What will they do? They will try to kill you off. But for a small company, the rest of the market share is your potential room for growth. And so small companies generally they try and they grow. So it was represented in this dividend over the last 5 years. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 years. But based on this, 5 years, right? I mean, currently we have in 2007 they paid $1, and then what do we then they did it like that. So of course the dividend didn't grow at an even pace. The dividend growth rate is not even. So what do? This is where you find where you use geometric average to find average growth rate. You know what geometric average is, so that means this is like this. This is like this, right? So through this, you find, the growth rate will be like this. So, and then next year, this is the dividend that next year, how do we come to this? This times, right? That's $1.40 times 1.07. Then we have dividend at time t plus 1. That way we can arrive at this. Okay, that's how you use Gordon growth model. Now, that's all the time we have. So, all right. So, any questions so far? Any questions? So since we have, okay, Daniela. Okay, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Okay. All right. So if you don't have any questions, well, even if you do have any questions, our time is up. So please email the question to me. Otherwise, the class dismissed. Class is dismissed. Have a great afternoon, everyone, and I will see you in our last class, which will be Monday. Okay? Everyone? Are you there?
Sounds good. See you then.
Okay.
Okay. I will see you guys on Monday. All right? Take care, everyone. All right. Stop recording.